Hello, welcome to my Facebook Live. This is Dr. Susan Blumberg of Dr. Susan Coaching, and we're in day 3 of my 3-day challenge called Reconnect with Your Teen Summer into School. And if you've been watching with us on day 1, we talked about communication and we learned active listening, how to listen to your teen or young adult without preconceived rebuttals or answers, just to hear and respect what they had to say. On day 2, we talked about expectations and how we can be disappointed in our teen if we have too high expectations, and how to make the lens change, how to look at our teen or young adult and see what they're capable of instead of what we want them to do, what we think they should do, that dirty word. And today, day 3, we're going to talk about relationships, how we can build strong relationships with our teen moving forward so that we build a strong and healthy relationship that will carry us into adulthood. So I'm so glad you're here. If you're watching live, let me know. And if not, and you're watching it on replay, just put hashtag replay, and I'll check the comments and answer any questions that you have. Again, I'm Dr. Susan Blumberg. I have a PhD in child clinical psychology, worked as a clinical psychologist, therapist for children, adolescents, families, and couples for 25 years, and about 7 years ago switched to being a parent and teen coach. Why did I do that? Not that I didn't love working as a therapist, I did, but what I discovered is what I liked best is helping teens and families set a plan, make goals for what they wanted to work on, what they wanted to improve, teach the rules for that plan, just like a sports coach teaches the rules of the game, and then teach the skills and strategies a teen and family needed in order to be successful, and send them out on the playing field to work on their goals, see what was successful, and then every week they come back to me. We celebrate successes together, and then we work on tweaking what didn't go right until they become more and more successful. And I have to tell you, I love being a coach because this way of working with families really sees great successes. And when things don't go well, just like a sports coach, we always have the opportunity to tweak things, create new plans, learn new skills and strategies. And we've been talking over the last couple days about, especially yesterday, about lagging skills. When we can identify when a child is not successful, it doesn't tell us that they're not trying hard enough or they don't want to try. In fact, we made a lens change, and instead we saw that our teens and young adults are simply missing skills that I can help teach them and learn to be more successful. So, with that lens change, today we're going to look at the lens change of both parents and teens and young adults who aren't having a strong relationship. And we're going to say it's simply that you don't have the skills to do it. It's not that your teen doesn't want to have a good relationship or that you, the parent, doesn't want to have a good relationship. Of course you do. I thoroughly believe that. As some of you may already know, if you've watched the previous Facebook Lives, I have 2 young adult children, 24 and 28, both of whom are identified as twice exceptional. That means they're gifted and they have multiple disability labels. My daughter is identified with autism, Tourette's, nonverbal learning disability, sensory processing disorder, and anxiety disorder, and my son is identified with ADD and anxiety disorder as well. And yet they're both successful adults now with jobs and relationships and moving forward in their lives after many years of support in school, accommodations, severe anxiety disorder, work with therapists, occupational therapists, behavior plans, medications. And that's because I hope I practiced what I preached and gave them all the supports and accommodations that they needed. And so today I'm going to talk about how I developed good relationships with my kids and what I teach other parents in order to do that, and hope that that will be helpful to you. I think one of the really important things that we think about when we have good relationships, for example, with our spouse or our partner, is stuff that, I think you read about in magazines, you see on TV shows or in videos. Okay, you tell me, right? You're going to tell me you're supposed to have good communication, talk about your problems. You should have date nights, right? Everybody knows the importance of time just one-on-one with your spouse or partner. And you should have some alone time as well, right? You need some time away from your partner where you can take care of your own needs. And people say, get your nails done. Oh, you can see I missed that recently. Or have a bath or a massage. Or for me, it's alone time reading a book. Watching some good videos, or just cuddling on the sofa with my partner, watching a movie or a TV show. It's having time together, time alone, and communicating about what our needs are. We all know that that's what makes a good relationship or marriage. In fact, I've co-authored 7 books about communication in marriage. So I happen to know that that really does work for adult relationships. So how do we transfer that to having a strong relationship with our teen or young adult? Well, in fact, it starts in childhood, and we do the same things. Just move to what's appropriate for your child. And rather than imposing what our ideas of what would be useful or appropriate for our child or kid, it has to be based on their interests. This is where parents really balk. Okay? Because I'm going to tell you to do what your child is interested in. Your child watches videos of other people playing video games, you get to watch those videos too. I can't tell you how many hours I've watched videos of other people playing video games. For some reason, kids really like this. I've also watched my kid play their own video games, but the videos are really important. Your kid really gets into that. Or my child and I, my son and I, from an early age, have shared an interest in exotic cars. My kid isn't interested in engines or fixing cars. He just likes to look at them. And I happened to mention to him when he was young that I like Rolls Royces and Maseratis and Lamborghinis. In fact, when my husband and I were teenagers, we've been together since high school, I bought him a remote-controlled Lamborghini, just 12 inches long. And we used to take my father to the library where our youth center was and drive this little remote-control Lamborghini. It's a great memory. So my son got interested in looking into pictures and specifications of exotic cars. And we happened to live in a neighborhood where there were 1 or 2 of these cars. And starting when he was about 8 years old, I used to have to drive him around the neighborhood to see if we could spot exotic cars. And it's a great story. My parents live on the Upper East Side of New York when they were alive. And we used to walk around the neighborhood to see, because there were many exotic cars then. And when he was 13 and we were getting ready for his bar mitzvah, as we are Jewish, there happened to be a very gorgeous, expensive, exotic car parked around the corner from their apartment building. And we got an iPhone picture of him leaning up against the car, and that's the photo we used, all blown up, for his friends and relatives to sign as his greeting picture for his bar mitzvah. So I don't know how many hours I spent doing research so that I could talk intelligently with him about his cars, about his video games. And his third interest was science. So we watched science videos. Now, many parents will tell me, oh, this is so boring. This is a waste of my time. I could be doing something much more interesting. And I'm going to tell you, lens change. If you watched my video yesterday, I'm going to say this is not about what you or your child should be doing, but what you could be doing. And what you're doing by spending this time with your child is seeing things from your child's point of view and spending time with your child that's going to cement a relationship. If your teen is interested in science, exotic cars, and video games, as so many kids are, exotic cars was unique to me and my son. Maybe your child is interested in geology or fossils or weather. One of my online friends who I've known for 20 plus years, because she lives in Australia and I live in Colorado. We've never met in person, but only online, but we share that our child has the same disabilities. Her child is really interested in weather, and in fact, now in his late teens, actually participates in a meteorology group with professionals and does weather checking in his neighborhood. And by supporting these interests, by giving your attention and time to your child, you are building a relationship that's going to last past childhood, last past the teen years, and move into an adult relationship. It sounds easy, but it isn't, because you must give your time and attention without criticism, without feedback, but simple and pure attention. It means taking time out of your day when maybe you want to relax, maybe you want to read the newspaper, maybe you want to play your video games, and giving that time and attention in a pure way to your teen. It's harder than you think, because you must give enjoyment and pleasure and enjoy that time with your child in a way that they feel is clear, is validating, right? And is motivating. What does this do? So now my child's 24, and he still will text me. I saw a Maserati. I saw your favorite Rolls Royce. How many of you want a 24-year-old or a 30-year-old who's going to take time out of his day to text his mom and say, remember this shared interest we have? And I'm going to guess 100% of you. My son has now, he hated cooking, and I'll tell you about this in just a second when I tell you a story about my daughter, who's a pastry chef. Hated cooking. And when he came home from college and moved into his own apartment, he signed up for HelloFresh, because once a week he gets a box with all the ingredients and a recipe, and he now sends me a picture of his completed dish. Not just because I want to know as his mom that he's, eating well, but to show me his accomplishment. How many of you want their adult children to do that? Now, I might not speak to him all week. I see him every second weekend maybe, because he only lives about 20 minutes away from me, but he has work, he has a girlfriend, he has his own events. We might text once a week. I see him every 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But he'll send me a photo on text message, just a photo of what he ate because he cooked it himself and he's proud of himself. This is the ties of a strong relationship. And this is what I teach families. Now, my daughter, who has autism and learning disabilities, when she was 12 years old in 6th grade, we had a full neuropsychological evaluation to assess what she needed for her next individualized education plan at school. And what's really important about this is that in addition to the school testing that's done for free, we always had these outside evaluations done every few years in order to be able to get additional and supplemental information. And what we learned at 12 is that her executive functioning skills, that is her planning and organization skills, her ability to transition between tasks, her ability to initiate or start tasks, her time management, that is understanding how long a task was going to take. Do these things sound familiar to you, parents? Were all really poor, and the school was not providing enough support. And so the neuropsychologist who did this evaluation suggested we teach her to cook, because using a recipe was a great way to teach executive functioning. What do you have to do in a recipe? Excuse me. First, you have to read the entire recipe. You must read the ingredients. You must read all the instructions. Because if you start cooking without doing that, invariably, you all know this because we've all done it, you're going to forget an ingredient. You're going to find out you don't have an ingredient. You're going to find out you needed to do something in advance, like preheat your oven or let something marinate for a few hours. And then you're going to be stuck because you won't have your recipe done in time, right? And so it takes all this advanced planning. Ding, ding, executive functioning skills. So we started teaching her to cook when she was 12. And my son was 8 at the time. And that's why I was telling you about his cooking, because he did not want to participate. He just did not want to participate, even though we tried. We knew it would be good for him too. No, Mom, I'm not doing that. But we start teaching our daughter to cook at 12. And so we had to learn what's called mise en place, where you chop everything, get all the correct spices and the correct amounts, prepare everything correct. I'm sorry, I'm getting a message that something is not working. So I'm going to just make sure that everything is okay here. And let's keep going and hope this is going to work. So what we did is we started teaching her with a kid's cookbook, Emerald, if some of you remember that from 15 years ago, and Rachel Ray and all those things. And let me see if I can fix what it is it's telling me that I need to fix. Okay, it's telling me it's correct here, so we're going to keep going and hope this is going to work. So she started cooking, and it was mind-blowing. So that this taught her the executive functioning skills she needed. You have to read through the whole recipe. You have to get everything, all your ingredients out in advance before you start cooking. You have to prep your ingredients, preheat your oven, set aside things you need to marinate, build in the time. You can't do a 30-minute recipe if you have to marinate something for an hour or two or overnight, etc. This was absolutely life-changing for my daughter. One, she and I had an event, an activity that we did together that was relationship building, because I love to cook. And then she started baking. Baking is entirely different from cooking. I cook, I don't use teaspoons and tablespoons. I'm this pinch of this, handful of that kind of cook, and I can cook without a recipe. Well, my daughter couldn't do that. We had to follow every recipe step by step. Her autistic brain was just too rigid, too black and white. But baking, you always have to be precise. And I'm not a good baker. She took to baking like it was science. You know, she absolutely found baking soothing and helpful to her brain, and she has become an extraordinary baker. In fact, she has completed a diploma in pastry arts from a internationally known school and is worked 2 years, the last 2 years, as the manager of a small wholesale bakery, which she recently quit, and is now taking small business classes to be able to launch her own home baking business. So at 12 years old, without even realizing it, we set her on a path to find her career. These small steps, these things that we work on with our kids, and these activities that we share together with them can be a way of helping our kids manifest what's best for them. While what we're really doing is simply finding a connection between ourselves and our kids. So, what I really want to say to you about looking at cars, cooking a meal, watching science videos, driving your kid around the neighborhood, identifying all the kinds of cars that there are, watching videos of other people playing video games may feel really boring to us as adults. But they are so worth your time, because what you're doing is building a connection with your child. And that goal, there's just no goal more important than that. So what I'd really like to know is what you're looking at your kid and seeing. Are you seeing a kid who's hiding in their room and avoiding reality? Or are you seeing a kid who is indulging a special interest? And how can you get involved in that interest to draw them out of their shell and create a relationship with? That's what I'm suggesting here. Can you help them learn to cook? Can you learn the science that they're interested in? So my son, starting in 4th grade, used to go visit the airport with my husband to watch the airplanes take off. And they used to watch videos together of launches from NASA. And my son now holds a bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering. Small things, started in elementary school, a shared interest with his father, flying remote control airplanes together, and now he holds a bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering. Took him 5 years. We had lots of ups and downs. We needed intervention, but he graduated with good grades, great interest, and is working full-time as an engineer now. It's these small steps, these attempts to reach out and build those relationships, share your child's interests based on what they're interested in, what you can share with them, not what you think they should be doing. So I hope this information really helped you think differently about how you can connect with your child. It's so important. And so I want to give you the option of being able to work more deeply with this and offer you 2 things. I've put a link underneath this video where you can schedule a free call with me to talk more about how I might be able to support you and your family. Are you having some difficulty thinking about how you can connect with your teen? Schedule a free call with me and let me help you find that special interest. You know, no commitment, no fee. Let's just talk about how you can connect with your teen. I'd be happy to do that for you. That's just, a way of building on this conversation we're having. That would be great. I would love to talk with all of you about that. But I have another offer for you as well. Just for this next semester, I am offering a punch card coaching offer. You know what a punch card is. You get it at your hair salon, your pet groomer, your local coffee shop or tea shop, and you know what it is. You buy 10 items, they punch out your card or stamp it, and you get one free. And I am offering, just as a special offer this summer, an executive functioning punch card coaching opportunity. I am offering 10 sessions to help your child focus on a few executive functioning skills. That's that planning and organization, organizing their materials, working on their time management, getting things turned in on time, completing tasks on time, initiating if they're having trouble getting started, turning in their homework. All those skills that are important to our teens and young adults who are transitioning into high school, transitioning into college, transitioning into young adulthood, getting them their lives managed. 10 sessions to work on the most important skills they're dealing with, and one extra skill session for free, scheduled at your convenience. You can come once a week, twice a week. You can spread it out from September to December at your convenience, just for the low price of $19.97. $1,997. It's a great deal. My normal coaching programs are much more expensive. We can absolutely talk about how I can help you, of course, on a broader variety of things, but this punch card offer is a special deal right now this summer, just along with this Facebook Live. So if you're watching this and you hear about this offer and you're interested, schedule a call at the link below this Facebook Live, and I'm thrilled to be talking with you about this great opportunity. And it comes with a freebie, a 5-page, 8 essential executive functioning skills for teens that'll get you started, but the support your teen needs to really dive deep is this punch card coaching offer, just $19.97, running from September to December of 2023, and I really hope to hear from lots of you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really hoping that these 3 sessions on communication, expectations and the lens change, and how to build a strong relationship with your teen have really helped you deal with some of the important issues I know families of teens are dealing with. I certainly dealt with my teens, and I look forward to hearing from many from you. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of August. I know many of you are starting back to school already, and I look forward to talking with you. Take care. This is Dr. Susan Blumberg from Dr. Susan Coaching. Have a great August.